1960s was a year where soul music didn't just play on the radio. It filled living rooms, corner cafes, and summertime block parties with feeling. Barbara Mason was teaching young hearts how to confess love, while Fontella bass was about to lift the world with a shout heard across generations. These are 10 forgotten one-hit R&B wonders from 1965. Songs that slipped through time, but never lost their soul. Number 10, The Duck, by Jackie Lee. When The Duck hit the airwaves in 1965, it came right in the middle of America's dance craze fever. Jackie Lee, born Earl Nelson, wasn't aiming to be a star so much as he was trying to bottle the electricity of the dance floor. Recorded on the Mirwood label, the track leaned into that West Coast R&B sound, bright horns, sharp percussion, and a groove that seemed to glide just above the pavement. The funny thing, Jackie Lee didn't invent the duck. The dance was already bubbling up in Chicago clubs. Moves low to the floor, shoulders loose, head dipping like the name suggested. But he was the one who gave it a soundtrack. Clubs from Detroit to Los Angeles lit up the moment that first horn stab came on. But now you're moving on the dance floor. You can almost imagine the polished shoes sliding across waxed tile floors, the smell of pomade, the laughter, the joy. Even though Jackie Lee never found another charting hit under that name, The Duck became one of those records DJs kept tucked in their crates. A reliable spark of movement and memory. And if this track is all about motion, get ready, because the song up next brings the heat straight to the heart. Number 9, I Do Love You, by Billy Stewart.
I do love you.
Warm, slow, and overflowing with tenderness, Billy Stewart's I Do Love You arrived in 1965 like a quiet confession whispered against your ear.
Oh, I don't want you to go, no.
Released on Chess Records, Stewart was surrounded by giants, Muddy Waters, Etta James, Chuck Berry. Yet, this was his moment to step into the spotlight. And what made this track unforgettable wasn't just the words, but his delivery. That signature trembling vibrato, each word stretched like he was holding on to the very feeling itself.
Prayed for your love, I would have come to me.
Stewart originally honed his voice singing on street corners in Washington, D.C., and you can hear that intimacy in every note. The story goes that in the studio, he insisted the band pull back, not push, so his voice could do the heavy lifting.
I do love, oh, I love you so damn.
And it did. Couples slow danced to this under low lights. Teenagers practiced saying, I love you, along with him, and jukebox diners across America played it deep into the night. Though Billy Stewart would never match the chart success of this track again, the emotional fingerprint he left here has been sampled, covered, and quietly adored for decades.
I want to.
This one isn't loud, but it lingers. And if that one had your heart swaying, the next track, that one's going to take you right back to the dance floor. Number 8, Shotgun by Junior Walker and the All-Stars.
I said shotgun.
Now this one didn't just play, it exploded. Shotgun, released in 1965 on the legendary Motown subsidiary Soul Records, came charging right out the gate with that unmistakable sax blast.
We're gonna break it down, baby, now. We're gonna.
Junior Walker didn't wait for the groove to settle. He announced it like the doors of the club just flew open. This track wasn't polished Motown sweetness. It was raw, gritty, sweaty, and real.
shooting for it right now.
The story goes, Junior Walker didn't even plan to sing this. The original vocalist was running late to the session, so Junior stepped up to the mic. One take, full energy, full grit. And Motown said, yep, that's the one. You can almost picture the room, cigarette smoke curling up to the rafters, musicians nodding to the downbeat, bass walking like it had something urgent to say. This was a dance floor command. Shotgun didn't ask you to move, it told you. And in 1965, dance halls, basement parties, and neighborhood shindigs across the country obeyed. Yet, for all its fire, Junior Walker and the All-Stars only had a handful of chart moments that stuck.
Shooting for it right now.
This one, though, this was the anthem. If I Do Love You was slow dance romance. Shotgun was pure, sweat on your collar soul power. And from that heat, we slide into something smooth, something with a story behind it. Number 7, Bcountdown, Rescue Me by Fontella Bass.
Your arms rescue me. I want your tender charm.
Rescue Me didn't just enter 1960, it burst into it. Released on Chess Records' subsidiary label Checker, Fontella Bass recorded this in Chicago during a moment when the city was becoming a heartbeat of soul innovation. She was young, bold, and full of gospel fire from her early days singing in church.
'Cause I need you by my side. Can't you?
And you hear every ounce of that power the minute she opens her mouth. In the studio, the song was built fast. Live musicians, minimal takes, everything based on feel. The legendary Maurice White, who would later form Earth, Wind and Fire, was on drums, giving the track its tight bouncing groove.
Take me in your arms, rescue me. I want.
And that famous ad-lib, wasn't planned. Fontella forgot the lyrics mid-take, kept singing anyway, and the room lit up. That moment of pure instinct became iconic, a reminder that soul music isn't about perfection, it's about truth.
Can't you see that I need you, baby? Can't you see?
Rescue Me shot up the charts, becoming one of the biggest R&B hits of the year. And yet, Fontella Bass never received the full recognition or the royalties she deserved. Industry politics pushed her into the shadows, but the song never faded. It kept spinning in diners, weddings, car radios, and movie soundtracks.
Baby, take me, baby, let me, baby, need me, baby.
It still feels like joy, longing, and liberation all at once. If this one lifted your spirit, hold on, because the next track might just take you back to that first summer crush. Number 6, I'll Always Love You by The Spinners.
I'll always love you. I'll always.
Before, The Spinners became the silky orchestrated powerhouse of the 1970s. Before, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love and I'll Be Around. They were hustling, grinding, and searching for their sound.
Has too much pride to see.
In 1965, they released I'll Always Love You on Motown's VIP label, a smaller imprint often reserved for artists trying to break through. The record didn't explode nationally, but in Detroit,
Baby, darling, you held my love no matter.
it hit hard. What makes this track so special is the purity of its feeling. It's doo-wop roots meeting early Motown sophistication. Hand claps, harmonies, and a bass line that feels like it's walking alongside you on a warm evening.
Oh, you're leaving me behind. Girl, you never.
You can almost imagine teenagers slow dancing in rec halls, gymnasium floors polished and glowing, the lights low, the DJ letting this one ride just a little longer than expected. The twist? The Spinners wouldn't find major mainstream recognition for nearly another 7 years. They stayed patient. They stayed together. They stayed soulful. And this early gem shows the heart that carried them into greatness. If that was a promise whispered in the dark, the song coming next? Oh, that one broke hearts wide open. Number 5, Yes, I'm Ready by Barbara Mason Soft. Sincere and beautifully uncertain, Barbara Mason's Yes, I'm Ready arrived in 1965 like a diary entry set to music. She was just 17 years old when she wrote and recorded this track for Arctic Records in Philadelphia.
Just the way you
No studio gloss, no superstar machinery, just a young woman trying to say what millions of hearts had trouble putting into words. I might not know everything about love, but I'm willing to learn. You can hear that innocence. The gentle organ swells the steady rhythm, and Barbara's voice, tender but steady, carries the emotion of a first confession. It became a major hit, climbing the charts and earning her national recognition.
I don't even know how.
Yet, despite the song's success, Barbara never quite broke through again on the same level. She continued to record and write, but this was the track that became her signature, the one that lived on in roller rinks, teen parties, and late-night radio dedications for decades. Picture the moment. 2 teenagers sitting close on a porch stoop, the summer air warm, the future wide open, and this song spilling softly from a transistor radio. Simple, vulnerable, forever. And we are just halfway through this journey. If these forgotten treasures from 1965 are stirring up memories or making new ones, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It helps us keep the heart of classic soul alive. And stay with me. The next 5 are unforgettable. Number 4, Hold What You've Got by Joe Tex.
Hold on to what you got.
Before Joe Tex was known as one of soul's great storytellers, he was a man fighting for recognition in a crowded era. James Brown, Otis Redding, Wilson Pickett, giants everywhere. But in 1965, Hold What You've Got gave him his breakthrough.
Before you can count.
Released on Dial Records and recorded in Nashville, this track struck listeners because it didn't beg, boast, or plead. It talked. Joe Tex spoke directly to the people, like a friend who's seen some things. The genius of the song is its honesty. No metaphors, no sweet talk, just advice. If you've got love, cherish it before regret shows up.
It's when they go out and stay because they feel that no other man won't sit.
His spoken interludes, half sermon, half conversation, made everyone stop and listen. Couples heard themselves in the story. People wrote letters quoting those lines. It hit number 1 on the R&B charts and became Joe Tex's calling card. Yet despite this moment of spotlight, Joe Tex never achieved the same crossover dominance as some of his contemporaries. His name didn't rise to the highest heights, but this song stayed.
Listen, girls, this goes for you too. Because you know I've seen
Barbershops, Sunday rides after church, scratchy AM radios around dinner tables. This was the sound of people trying to hold on to something good. And if this was soul with wisdom, the next track is soul with pure, irresistible groove. Number 3, Shotgun Wedding by Roy C.
Oh yeah, of a shotgun wedding, 'cause you
Now this one right here is pure story. Released in 1965 on the Tiny Port label, Shotgun Wedding by Roy C. came out of nowhere and instantly became a crowd favorite. The song is playful, but it hits on something very real. A young man suddenly finding himself face to face with a father holding a shotgun because love moved faster than time. It's funny, it's tense, and it's all wrapped in that laid-back Southern soul groove. Roy C., or Roy Hammond, had a voice like someone who had seen life, but could still smile about it. He came from the Carolinas, brought gospel grit and smooth phrasing, and walked into the studio with the kind of storytelling charm that made this record feel like it was happening right now on your block. And people connected to it. Weddings, cookouts, neighborhood parties. Everyone knew somebody who had a story kind of like this.
Shotgun, 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 shotgun.
The record didn't light up the national charts in a massive way, but the streets loved it. DJs loved it. And in the UK and Jamaica, this song became a cult classic, influencing early ska and rocksteady singers who loved its humor and swagger.
Yeah, I looked around and all I could.
This was soul music that smiled and invited you to smile with it. And while this one brought laughter, the next track brings us back to the dance floor, where the spotlight hits and the rhythm takes over. Number 2, The In Crowd by Dobie Gray.
I'm in with the in crowd.
There's cool, and then there's 1965 lounge soul cool. Dobie Gray's The In Crowd was the soundtrack for anyone who wanted to walk into a room and feel like the world had already taken notice.
Just inclined, making time. We breathe up and down.
Released on Charger Records, this song didn't scream or plead. It glided. It had that jazz club sophistication, smoky and lightly swaggering, like a confident smile across the dance floor. Dobie Gray wasn't chasing trends. He was carving out his own lane. The track was recorded with the legendary Wrecking Crew in Los Angeles, those studio musicians who quietly played on half the classic records of the era.
At a spot where the beat's really high.
They gave it sparkle, upright piano phrases that felt like champagne bubbles, a bass line that moved like silk, horns that stepped forward just long enough to shine before easing back into the groove. When Dobie sang "I'm in with the in crowd," it wasn't bragging. It was an invitation, a vibe, a feeling of belonging, and listeners felt that.
But the original silver grade.
Teen clubs played it, fashion shops blasted it. Daytime radio kept it spinning. Yet despite the song's success, Dobie Gray never caught another wave quite like it, though his voice would return years later on the anthem "Drift Away," reminding the world what soul sounds like when it's effortless.
Any time of the year, don't you hear?
The In Crowd is 1965 soul in cufflinks, classy, assured, unbothered. But now, we're at the summit. Because the number 1 forgotten one-hit wonder of 1965, that song didn't just hit, it shook the year. Number 1, You've Been Cheatin' by The Impressions, featuring Leroy Hudson.
You've been lying, you've been cheating on me.
Now, before the purists jump, yes, The Impressions were not one-hit wonders, but this particular track, released in 1965, became one of those songs that hit deeply in the moment, then slowly slipped from the mainstream memory. Written by Curtis Mayfield, You've Been Cheatin' is a masterclass in quiet heartbreak.
Scramble, but that's how it goes. You don't want me.
It was never the big radio smash like People Get Ready, but in barbershops, basement parties, and late-night AM stations, this one was the soul confessional. The recording is pure Chicago warmth. The harmonies float like smoke. The guitar is soft but steady.
Another lover, you discover.
The rhythm section keeps things unhurried because heartbreak doesn't need to rush. And Curtis, He sings not with anger, but with resignation. It's the sound of someone who knows, someone who saw the signs, someone whispering goodbye instead of shouting it.
That you've been cheating.
Many fans don't realize this song became a quiet anthem in the UK Northern Soul scene, danced to in dark clubs with shining floors, as his body spun and swayed to sorrow wrapped in beauty. It lived on not through charts, but through memory, the deepest form of legacy soul music can have. And that is the heart of this list. Songs that mattered, even after the world moved on. From dance floor fire to tender confessions, these forgotten gems from 1965 remind us how rich and soulful the era truly was. Not every song becomes a household name, but every one of these left fingerprints on someone's heart, maybe even yours. Thank you for taking this soulful stroll with me. It's always an honor to keep this music alive. If you felt something tonight, go ahead and subscribe to stay with us on this journey. We've got more stories, more grooves, and more memories waiting. Next up on the end screen, 10 R&B songs from 1966 we'll never forget. Click it, and let's keep the soul spinning.